These people have local relationships. That they know people locally. You never know who they are related to locally. It leaves so much room for corruption. And that's you're right on point.
Yes.
Please keep that momentum. Keep that momentum. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Duncan. I really appreciate that. And I really, again, I appreciate you and Carl coming to the stage and speaking. Because this is live. I'm live on the Freedmen channel on YouTube as we discuss this. Because at this point in time, I do see it as a precipice, a very important, monumental time in our history. And that we see what is happening, right? We see that there's a push for socialism in America. There's a huge push to take over and remove our documents, our laws. There's a blatant disregard for the federal laws in America right now. And it's happening with politicians. And I was going over earlier, you all, if you're just joining, about how it all, for me, when I look back at the history and what is happening right now, it starts with Obama. It all started with Obama and Biden, and they just been carrying it on. But when I'm gonna go back to what these gentlemen were just speaking on about us delineating and ethno aggregating so that we are in control of our resources. And Duncan, when I say, we have our different divisions, yes, we have our own civil rights division. We have our own Department of Education, right? We have our own genealogy department. Anything, or our own, what is it? They have small business association or small business, but I would say just commercial and trade and business offices, right? We're not joined with others. So then any of the resources that is ours, we can make sure it's disseminated to our people from the federal level to our offices on the state in the different states, and then from the offices in the states, then they disseminate it to the local people, right? Locally. And we will, of course, we have satellite offices and things of that nature. So I am on that type of time. It's time for us to eliminate all others in our pot because they're using us. It's all about taking what is ours. Everything, that's why we're being attacked on all different fronts. Because they know we are the wealth of America. And when we allow the recent arrivals to claim our identity, then that sets up for erasure. Because we already know we are a unique and distinct ethnic group made in America. You will not find us anywhere else in the world. And they know this. So you remove us, then this will become a nation of immigrants. And we already see how they have ethnocided and genocided the native tribes, right? It's crazy. You have Europeans now claiming that they are Native Americans. I'm laughing because the fact of the matter is they literally killed the men off, procreated with the women, and now they're claiming, even after marrying another European, they're Native American. Y'all, come on now, that's diabolical. I'm laughing because it's like crazy, right? I'm just saying it out loud, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Which is what is the play with us right now. So let me go back. I'm gonna come to, okay, I'm gonna finish this thought, Duncan. I'm gonna put it out there. So I'm gonna let you know this is the play right now for us, right? and why the Pan-Africans and the recent arrivals, who melanated recent arrivals, want to get with us, right? You see the bi-ethnics already that have some of us, our men or women, have procreated with the recent arrivals. And what do you see them doing right now? Same play as them white folks. Same play. But go ahead, Duncan. I had to get that out. Go ahead.
Yeah, you basically talking about the same thing that I raised my hand to say. Yeah, we are an amalgamated people. We had an ethnogenesis, but that happened when we did not really have a choice. A lot of the great, that happened during slavery, we did not have a choice in that. But now other free people are Black Americans, right? Freedmen, Black Americans, man or woman, they are choosing to procreate with other groups of people, and basically thinking they're going to come to our community and demand us to accept them as Black Americans. No, they're biracial. What word you said? Multi-ethnic. No, they're not Black Americans. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're going to choose to procreate with another group, yeah, by all means, honor and respect your Black American side, but you have to acknowledge that other group you chose to procreate with, whether that be white, Arab, Mexican, Martian, or whatever the case may be, right? But you got to accept and acknowledge that part as well. I'm just concerned. I agree with you on that.
Yes. This, like you stated, I'm glad you highlighted how our ethnogenesis that happened wasn't a choice. It is something that happened because of the conditions we were in and the environment we were in. Now it's a choice. And that's where I'm going. I know people don't like this, but again, we have to make sure we're not repeating the same in history, that patterns of behaviors in history that other groups have implemented that only ended up in their erasure. You can go and read. It's been the bi-ethnics that end up going with the choosing a side. And usually they don't choose the side of the natives or the native born or whatever, as how you want to state it. And they'll go with another side and then infiltrate. And you're seeing it right now, right? It's playing out in front of our eyes, where we have what was it, that the recent thing with the Pan-African, with the entertainer that made the song Mauna Leo, and then her manager is Nigerian, and then there's another artist that is bi-ethnic, and he's talking down on us just like he's not one bi-ethnic, right? So he's chose a side. He chose his side. He chose his Nigerian side, right? But then move amongst us and move amongst our culture, right? And then the loyalty, I should say, the loyalty is not to our people, it's to others. So when you look at some of the native tribes right now, yeah, even Trump recognized it. Oh, I should play that. Oh, y'all got me on something. If Trump even said, well, when I go to the reservations, they don't look like they natives to me. So we have to be really careful about who we are bringing into the mix. And then the other thing is, we're not responsible as the collective, right? Here's where I'm at. We're not responsible for other people's choices to procreate outside of our lineage and our legacy. We should not have to bear the brunt of that or have to deal with any of that. That's their choice. As you just pointed out, Duncan, that was a choice of them to procreate with those other individuals. But we are already established here. Our ancestors were already established. Our elders already established for close to 400 years. We've been the only Black people in this country. So how is it now that others come over, they're also like us? Which goes back to the whole thing with the Pan-Africans. We know that the Pan-Africans are saying and teaching the recent arrivals that now they are Black too. And in that, we have been fighting for reparations, right? Part of our political movement and grassroots movement has been reparations. So now you want to tell me that because you're Black like me, that we all should join together under another term called Afro descendants, and we all are now Black in America and Afro descendants as they fight and take on reparations, which we've been doing this work. It is not new work for us, right? So now all of a sudden, the recent arrivals are Black like us as we continue our battle in our country for reparations. Doesn't make any sense. And then they've created another term, Afro descendants, which then puts us in the racial groups, right? Trying to put us in the racial groups with the Africans. And what I mean by that, let's look at the census. Let's look at how they define Black on the census, you all. Have you ever looked at it? Do you know what it says? I'm gonna tell you. You probably, if you hadn't really looked at it, they've changed the definition. How does the census define Black? I'm gonna tell you all. Because they have Black or African American is a person having origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa. Somebody help me out. What are these Black racial groups in Africa? Y'all know of any Black racial groups in Africa?
No, I know. They identify themselves with their tribe, as far as my knowledge go.
That's what I thought too. So you all see the issue with even this definition?
But Dr. Harris, how long has that been going on? Ever since the 70s. We are 60 years removed from the game that been played on our people. That's why I say again, the government reclassified us as Black on the Office of Management Budget instead of our classification of freedmen. Our grassroots, we need to make our legislators reinstate the freedman status. Mm-hmm. If our legislator would reinstate the freedman status, all those other things that you're talking about, the Office of Management and Budget, the Office of Freedmen Affairs in every state and every city, all those things will come in place. But first, we got to get our status, our name right. We got to have Black unity in political spaces, that we are the freedmen. We are the freedmen. Our status, our class was freedmen, and we are the descendants of American slaves, the descendants of the emancipated, and that is our status. That is our class in America, and no other racial group can go under the status of freedmen except those who are the descendants of the American slaves, the descendants of the emancipated. That's why it's important.
Yes, and I agree, Carl. But okay, so it brings me to a question. If right now we are seeing, it's not an if, right now we are actually witnessing where we have no political representation, although I like to state it as taxation without representation. So how are we to get this done? We know it must be done. And the thing about it is, I want people to understand and know that we did go to the OMB. The grassroots did go to the OMB. We testified. I was one of them, to make sure we delineated on the upcoming census that we are not, that the recent arrivals are separated from us. From the form that I submitted with some other organizations, it was basically Black, African American. We had our own where we could say we whatever you chose, right? If you're Creole, Creek Freedmen, you could put all of that under there. Then you have the sub-Saharan Africans with their countries and whoever they are and how they identify. And then you also would have the others that was Caribbean, right? They could do their own and identify what nationality they were. Well, that wasn't accepted because they said there were so many different terms that came up, they didn't know which one to choose. Now, to me, that was an excuse because you could have just said, okay, American origins, or you could have said, okay, Black African American, and we could still be separated. But then they also expressed that because Mark Morial and some others had written letters and NAACP, that, you know what, that will cause confusion with the recent arrivals. Again, it was an immigrant administration, which is an immigrant administration right now, but the previous administration is all about immigrants. Right? We now have an administration that says, hey, it's about Americans and Americans are first. So how are we to go about making sure we change this right now with no representation? How are we going to do this?
First, we'll do it with what you're doing today. You're educating the masses. You're educating our people. The grassroots is making an impact on educating our people that our status of freedmen was lost and abandoned. As a result of our status as freedmen being lost and abandoned, we've been placed under this thing called Black. And as you just read, the Office of Management and Budget classifies Black as any person from the racial group from Africa. That means everybody is called Black in America. That does not serve the freedmen. We are a special people group. Mm-hmm. We are a founding people group. Who is that founding people group? The freedmen. Educating our people just like you're doing now, the grassroots. We cannot depend on those first five that I talked about earlier. The donor class, the think tank, the politicians, the media influencers. We cannot depend on them because they have been bought and sold. They have bought and sold with the propaganda that we need to be under the minority moniker. We need the grassroots like you're doing today to educate. We need to go back to the status of freedmen that delineates us from every other person that looks like us but not of us. Mm-hmm. Educate them. Once we are educated, we must go to our representatives and tell them, we want you to put forth a resolution to reinstate the freedmen status for our people because we are being underserved. We are being underserved by all these other immigrants who are coming over and taking our resources. Go to our elected officials and put forth some of our own officials and tell them we need a resolution to reinstate the freedmen status. Once that resolution goes forth, the Office of Management and Budget has no alternative but to put that box for American freedmen, and I land there.
I agree with you. And I think, again, this is a great opportunity for us to do this, right? With this current administration, we can present, especially aligning everything with the 14th Amendment. I just look at this as it's beautiful in a way because it just the alignment is just laid out for us. I totally agree with everything you have stated, Carl. We are it, right? We are it. It is no longer depending on any kind of political representation. We, the people, have to push policy for our people at this point in time. It's about us making sure as well we put people in office. But welcome to the stage, Mark King Carter. You know I got love for you, brother. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. The title definitely caught my attention. I'm scrolling in another. I was in another space and saw this one. I'm like, oh man, let me get over here.
Yes, I'm live streaming, but I'm just talking about how right now we're seeing everything play out in front of our faces where they are utilizing certain things, right? Racism, and using black to say that now the recent arrivals are us. Any way to make their socialist play. That's so Emmys are racist mixed with that's immigrants are racist mixed with classism. Say no to black unity and say no to socialism. What are your thoughts on that, Mark, on the title?
Well, the part you just what you said from the beginning, it's not just that they're classifying themselves as well as being classified as black. It is our people who has always backed these immigrants, and not just the darker skinned immigrants. It was our people who made them minority. Mm-hmm. It was our people who agreed with people of color, black and brown. So a lot of our problems are coming from our own people who are including these other people in everything that we do. Whether it's Jesse Jackson's and a lot of our secret societies who funneled and flooded them into our HBCUs, none of this stuff happened without them. Mm-hmm. I think we need to make mention of that all the time, that none of this happened without them. None of this could have ever happened without them giving the green light.
Yes. And so okay, now Mark, you hitting on all cylinders here. Now what are we to do? How are we to solve these issues and conflicts that we're experiencing right now? What are your thoughts?
Well, as the grassroots community, we must mash the gas harder on delineation and who is to receive reparations. We must also be on the same page with this president's agenda when it comes to the 14th Amendment. You can bet your bottom dollars. As it get closer, as time get closer to, as we get closer to this 14th Amendment ruling in the Supreme Court, you're going to have a lot of these people of color and these black and brown black Americans and all of these special interests, progressives, they're gonna oppose it. Mm-hmm. Watch them come out. They're gonna come out openly against the position that we're taking. Mm-hmm. Openly, they're gonna come out openly against the position that the president is taking. I mean, we have had outright racist white Republicans interpret the 14th Amendment in its proper form. Mm. Now. Where have we seen that? What day and time have we seen that before, prior to this? We haven't. Let me say that part again. You have outright racist white Republicans who are interpreting the 14th Amendment properly. All down in Texas. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But what are these progressives are saying? What are these Democrats are saying? What are these secret society black folks are saying? Oh, that's xenophobic. That's racist. What the hell you mean? You know, and when these people are interpreting the 14th Amendment to our benefit, that lets you know that they will put others before they put us and their own family and their communities across this country.
Yes, you hit on a great point. If if the racist Republicans that everybody is so afraid of can interpret the 14th Amendment correctly, then why is it a problem for the progressives? I have my own theory. It's in the title. Say no to socialism. I was speaking on this earlier in how the interpretation of the 14th Amendment has only changed after Obama and Biden's tenures in office. Obama initially gave DACA a bill and policy so they could stay in the country. The 14th Amendment has never, ever been interpreted in America to say that two illegals could come here on a visa and have a child on the soil, or even someone just, usually you got to get a visa, right? If you're from another country to come into America and you're going to be here for a moment. So you have a baby on the soil and the baby is a citizen. Y'all, this is illogical. The baby is a citizen, but the parents aren't. Who has children and the child is under a certain age and don't have parents to take care of them? And it's okay to have a baby in America without parents of authority to take care of the child, and that child is a citizen. It does not add up. I say, when I look at it, I do it mathematically, right? You have 0 plus 0 equals 1 or 2 or 3. Y'all, how does that happen? That's not real math. That's not feasible. And this has only started to happen. I look at it when Biden or Obama, because he decided, and Obama is a constitutional attorney. We know Biden is an attorney as well. I think I can't remember what type of law he practiced. So now they're telling us that it is okay for illegal aliens to come here and have babies on the soil, and the children are citizens, which is again another way to take our birthright citizenship. And yes, we do have our own participating in this, because they are sitting at the table, and they're at this present point in time, they're not even saying anything. You don't have any Black leadership, or leadership, as like Mark King Carter likes to say. I took his term, you all, and I'm utilizing it. They're not doing anything right now. They're not saying anything. We know we've been infiltrated in the Congressional Black Caucus.
Check this out, Dr. Harris.
Go ahead.
I like what Mark said a few minutes ago. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was to reverse the state sanctions against the freedmen. That was the purpose of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The compliance people, the enforcers, inserted a new status of people called minority. Mm-hmm. That was the compliance people. They inserted minority. Where was all of the pushback and said, no, that should be the freedmen? If you take the freedmen out of the minority status, what other minority was harmed by the United States government? None. White Republicans. If you understand the freedman status should be reclaimed and restored, it would dismantle this thing called minority, and the redress would go only to the freedmen. That's how you talk to those white racist Republicans. I've been there.
I heard that, Carl. And you know what? I do believe the white racist Republicans will understand all of that. Especially since they understand the Constitution and the interpretation of the 14th Amendment. I do believe, I think and feel they will align with what we're stating. But again, it's about us getting to them and presenting our case, or presenting what we as the Americans have a right to self-identify, We have a right for our pursuit of happiness. We have a right to all kinds of property in our country, on our land. We must make sure that we are speaking out. And they understand where we are as the masses of freedmen in this country, not just the Pan-Africans, not just the I guess the coons or whomever, how y'all want to label them and call them right now. It's so many of them at this point in the political space that are not speaking up and speaking out for the people, that, it's really a travesty, but it shows us the link that these people will go through to basically ethnocide, genocide, erase their own people. And it's sad. But we know we the sleeping giants. We know how powerful we are as a people, and they will not prevail. And we can get this done. So I'm with you, Carl. We must make sure the OMB. Okay, some calls to action, and I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. I would love for us, and this is just me putting it out there, for you to go ahead and tweet to Russ Vaught of the OMB. Tweet to your senator, and if they're especially Republican, that are representing you in your state, in your local or your state and federal offices, about the freedmen and how we are delineating. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing. I need to post the petition again today. I got the room started. I had some technical difficulties, but I didn't post the petition. You all know I have a petition going around where I'm stating we're delineating, ethno-aggregating, we're separating, and take it to your Congress people. Send it to them and let them know we are delineating and we are separating ourselves out of the minority groups, because we are a founding population. And again, I'm going to reiterate, we have every right to self-identify. We have every right to pursue our happiness in our country and our land. And we have a right to all kinds of property in this country. So there's no way anybody can tell us no. And the only reason we know at this point in time, the Biden administration and the OMB was telling us no, is because they want the immigrants in our places. So that is, again, going back to the title. Immigrants are racist, mixed with some classism. So there's no Black unity, because basically the Black unity is us. We're not unifying with immigrants that now want to take on our identity and say they are Black like us. That is not happening. So with that, as Carl has said, we can eliminate all of that by making sure we reinstate our status of freedmen. And we know here in America, the social construct, the racial social construct, is harming us. And we can look at the history and see how the racial construct was created to harm and injure the freedmen specifically, right? And so with that, we're saying no to socialism. Nobody gets to come here and say they on the same level and deserve the same things as the freedmen. We're the Americans that built, developed, and advanced this country into a first world superpower. It wasn't immigrants, right? And people will say, "Oh, immigrants were here building." Well, let's go look at the innovations. Besides of building America, let's look at the inventions and the innovations that advanced this society. And I guarantee you won't find a lot of immigrants that have been in America, and they've been here, been unjustly enriched off of our backs, our contributions, our equity. is in this country. We are the wealth of this nation. You wouldn't have certain things in place today if it wasn't for us being here. And there's so many of it, so many innovations, and even modern day technology. That's where I say advance this society, advance this civilization into a first world superpower. Comes from us, and we need to stand in that. So anybody else want to come to the stage? I'm gonna continue to highlight this, and I love the fact that we had the other day we had the discussion about with Dr. Claude Anderson. Mark is gone, but we had that space yesterday with Dr. Claude Anderson. He spoke about immigration. He was a real life prophet of our people, right? Telling us, preparing us for this day, and how we could have been proactive instead of reactive. So right now we have to be reactive, and hopefully going forward we can prepare and be proactive with our own. And what I mean by our own, having our own micro Freedmen nation in America. Go ahead, Carl.
Let me say this, Dr. Harry, great space for my conservative brothers. I know we get a few of my conservative people who are very immature and don't know the political space. They are socially conservative, but they don't understand the political guiding principles of conservatism. Let me give you a list of harms to the freedmen. Unpaid labor from 1619 to 1865. Land theft and denial, 1865 to 1900. Freedmen banks collapsed in 1874. Jim Crow and exclusionary policy losses between 1877 to 1965. Reclassification and civil rights dilution, 1977 to present. These are the harms that has been experienced by the freedmen, the descendants of the American slaves, the descendants of the emancipated. These are the harms that we are telling our government you need to redress with the freedmen. Not to all the other immigrants who have came over, but to specifically, you have unfinished business with the freedmen. And I land there. Thank you, Dr. Harris. Thank you, everyone in the space. Have a good day.
Thank you, Carl, for that. You summed it up. That is great. And that's what the harms. You're correct. We need to highlight and continuously highlight that, because at the end of the day, all of these beings coming over here, coming on our backs and using our plight, and they've never experienced any of this. Never have they ever experienced any of this. So to me, it's all a grift. It's all fraud. It's all corruption, identity theft. You can put it all in that. It still hurts us, and it doesn't serve us. And it's also, again, a liability. They're showing they are liabilities. They're not assets to this country, no allegiance to this country, no loyalty to this country as the freedmen. I really appreciate it, Carl. I'm going to have to back channel you. I would love for you and I to just sit as conservatives and talk and have a discussion. So I'm on my back channel you about that. With that, you all, I'm going to close out the podcast. It's been about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I know most individuals' attention span with podcasts, it doesn't last 3 hours. I think it's really on 1.5 hours, and I've totally gone over my time. But I want to make sure we're having these discussions and people understand what is at play for us right now. They're really pushing socialism. The Democratic Party is pushing socialism, and they're pushing it on us at this point in time. And we have to fight back as Americans and make it known to this administration. We don't believe in this. We don't align with this. And the rest of those others are not representing us. We are here as the grassroots, as the masses of Americans to represent ourselves. Those politicians are done for. They're not speaking on our behalf at all. We're taxed at this point in time. We're Americans we're paying taxes. It's taxation without representation. They're getting paid, but they're not representing us. So with that, you all, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say love, peace, happiness. And you all see my shirt. I'm going to make sure you all see my shirt. I am Black history. You all are Black history. Freedmen, right? That's our history. Black comes under Freedmen. So with that, you all have a good rest of your day, and I'm going to sign off. And please visit the Freedmen channel. I didn't put it in the on the purple pill, but visit the Freedmen channel and you can get this podcast and share it, and you can subscribe to the channel as well. So with that, you all have a good rest of your day.